How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video from me here at ScrubGames, and this time we're going back over to a deck profile, and one that is a deck that I really enjoyed when it first came out, well, when it second came out, and that is Agents of Destruction. So if you don't know what Agents of Destruction are, they are an archetype which started off back, way back actually, in set 6, when we had one for each colour as a campaign promo, or campaign rare for the set, along with two secret rares relating to Agents of Destruction. Now they were only just little tech cards that you could put in the colour that they came in, but then last year we got an anniversary box where we got more support for it to make it an actual archetype, an actual deck, and that came with a leader, which was a Boo that then flips over to, Babidi that flips into Boo, and we also got some more Agents of Destruction to make a complete deck together, which is quite fun. And interesting thing about it is it's kind of like it goes all colors with a black leader, so it's kind of like you can play it as a rainbow deck, and it's just a cheap and easy archetype to pick up. Now the reason why I'm doing a deck profile for something that came out like a year ago and doesn't really seem play is because of the fact that we're getting a new Agent of Destruction card, and that combined with my buddy BigONotation doing watching his video and seeing some interesting takes, and with the new thing it spurred my hype to actually want to rebuild the deck, put it back together because I picked it up before, and give it a try for the new format. So before we get into the deck profile, I first want to say a shout out to DBS Deck Planet for being the best deck builder in the Dragon Ball Super card game. So easy and functional, really good interface, easy to use, and yeah, with great creators and team behind it, they're always trying to improve it and add new features. So the deck profile, if you didn't know what the leader does, it's got a permanent on both sides where you treat all Agent of Destruction cards as if they had no specified cost. So that means it doesn't matter what energy you charge, you can play them by tapping any energy, which is cool. And on the front side, when it's Babidi, it's just got an auto and awaken, and the auto is when it attacks. You can choose up to one card in your life and add it to your hand, and then look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose any card that's got, or choose a card from among them that has Agent of Destruction in its name. So that's, and also just a quick note, there is a ruling because people got confused about it because people didn't understand plurals, where Agents of Destruction and Agent of Destruction are both the same thing, it's just different pluralization of the name. So you can look at the top 5 cards, grab any card that has Agent of Destruction in its card name, and add to your hand. And for Awaken, it's quite a simple one. When your life's at 4 or less, you untap 1, draw 1, and flip over. But then when we are flipped over, it's now 15k with Boo, but it no longer has any draw power, but it has some good skills. And that is in the form of 2 activate mains. They're both once per turn. The first one is you can play up to 1 Agent of Destruction from your hand with entry cost of 2 or less, which is pretty good. So easy to play. I know there are Agent of Destruction that are free costs, but there is a card in the deck, which we'll go over in a bit, that reduces the cost of all Agent of Destruction, making it a more cost-effective deck. And for a Zema activate main, it costs 3 energy to do it. You choose 1 Unison card with Agents of Destruction or Agent of Destruction in its card name, and play it with 3 markers on it. That's fantastic. Now Agent of Destruction do have 2 technically 3 very strong Unisons, and in this deck we're going to use one of the best ones. That's the best one out of the 3 for this archetype, and one of the best in the game. And that is it for the leader. So when you flip over, you got no draw, but your deck still has draw power and recyclability, which is really nice. So we'll start off with the Unison first. So the Unison is Majin Buu, Assault of the Agent of Destruction. So this is a 4 specific cost, but that doesn't matter because you can be playing off the leader by paying 3 energy. And even though it only gets 3 markers, it's still got 3 markers and a 20k as well. Now it has double strike and blocker, so double strike being relevant to put some pressure in, because double strike is always a good skill to have. And blocker is great to have for your turn because at the end of the turn, when you use its first marker skill, it really stands itself. So for its marker skills, it's got an activate main which is a +/-0, and a auto skill which is a -1. So for the first one, the skill is draw one card, then at the end, start of your opponent's main phase, switch the card to active mode. And I'm not going to get into the rest of it because it's not relevant because your leader isn't blue. If your leader was blue, it will untap an energy as well, a blue energy as well. But its -1 is one of its best skills, whereas in auto, when your opponent attacks with a battle card, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and place it at the bottom of his owner's deck. So that's really handy because you can block an attack, and that you can block an attack with one battle card and then put another battle card your opponent has to the bottom of the deck, effectively defending 2 attacks in 1. Now that is amazing and one of the strongest abilities and what makes it quite hard to remove. So that's it for the Unison. We're just playing 3 deals. I know there is the green one, the Vegeta is a board wipe, but I'm not really interested in running that. This is stronger one because it actually draws me a card. Well, the other one can board wipe, but there's not much really at the moment. It's board wipe. And in a best of 3, you can side deck it. In a best of 1, it doesn't really matter for the format at the moment. Now, for one of the main cards in the deck, we have Barbody, Overseer of Destruction. So this is one of the original cards that came for the Archetype that came out in set 6. It's 1 cost with 1k power with barrier, so it's going to be hard to remove, which means that for you it's going to be easy to stick around. And it has 2 permanents. Now, there's a lot of text. Basically, what the permanents do is make all your Agent Destruction cards, battle cards, have no specified cost, and it also reduces the cost of all Agent Destruction cards by 1. So any 2 costs now become 1 cost, and a 3 cost now become 2 costs. So it means all your Agent of Destruction battle cards are playable off your leader with this on the board. And this makes it so you can get such value out of all your battle cards. So the first one, to help get this onto the field if you don't draw it, we have Hatchak, Vengeful Agent Destruction. So this can easily, you want to open either Barbody or this turn 1. And I reckon this one is the best one to have turn 1 instead of Barbody because it pulls it straight from the deck with his activate main, where by paying 1 energy, you're discarding this card from your hand. You can play 1 Evil Wizard Barbody with an energy cost of 1 from your deck or drop, and then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So that's really handy. So that's a good way to, because if you want to hard cast Barbody, you've got to charge a blue, then play it. So that's taking up 2 blue cards. There's not too many. You don't want to waste a Unison on it. And the other blue cards in the deck are very strong. You want to keep. But if you have 2 copies, that's fair enough. If you don't have a copy, another blue card that you want to charge to play this, you can easily just use Hatchak to bring it straight from the deck without worrying what you need to charge. And that's the reason we play 4 and 4, because that way, there's a higher chance to find it in opening hand if you have 8 copies essentially of the Barbody. Now, 4 is auto, is a very handy one to help control. All of them have essentially, all the newer ones have 2 effects that are both useful, and one's an ability you can use and one's on play. And 4 is auto when you're on play. It's when it's played, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 4 or less, and you send it to your opponent's warp. Then you can choose up to 3 battle cards in your opponent's drop area and put them at the bottom of their own deck in any order. So this is really handy to disrupt drop area effects, like with hand destruction like Cell, but when they've got Rubran in the drop, put it back to the bottom of the deck, so they have to switch through the deck again and to put it back there. So it can be handy taking it, and that just comes up with it's like a little toolbox where it's got a useful effect that can come up at any point. Then for the next one, we have the best counterplay, like a very strong counterplay, and one of the best cards in the deck, which is Android 13, Exterminating Agent of Destruction. Now this is your counterplay. Remember to note that with Barbody on the field, this becomes a 1-drop 15, so it's a nice 15k body, which is decent, especially for 1 energy, and also means the 1-drop counterplay. And the counterplay is if your leader card is an Agent Destruction card leader, which it is, if the battle card being played has an energy cost of 3 or less, it's played as known as drop area, then you play this card, and then your opponent chooses 1 card in the hand and drop it. So that means for 1 energy, you get 15k on the board. You stop the card if it's 3 cost or less from being played, and then you make them discard a card, which is amazing. And to top it off, it also has an auto for when it's played, where when it's played, you can choose up to 2 Evil Wizard or Agent Destruction cards, or cards with Agent Destruction in their card name, from your drop area and put them back in at the bottom. Shuffle them back in your deck. So it means you can reuse, you can essentially stop yourself from decking out, which is only something you can really do with Hatchak and Vegex, and it allows you to reuse some of the strong cards in the deck as well. And then we have for the next one, and that's why we play 4 of it, because it's such a powerful card. And then the next one we have is a negate off of the deck, which is Garlic. So same thing with Enter 13. It's a 1 cost 15, and it's Garlic Junior Immortal Agent of Destruction. So the counter attack is basically just negate attack and play itself. It's not too bad. So you negate an attack and then play a 15k on board for 1 energy. But then when it's played, as this order goes off, when it's played, you can choose it to 1 Agent Destruction card with an energy cost of 2 or less. Or with an energy cost of 2 other than other copies of this card from your deck and play it with the skills negated. Now there's 2 targets you want to play off this, and Agent 13 is not one of them. There's one which is going to come up, next, which you're always going to want to bring out of it. But if you already got that one on board, you're then going to want to play the other one, which we'll see in a bit. So the first one you want to play is Turtle's Chaotic Agent Destruction. Now, once again, another 1 cost 15k if you've got Babidi on board. And it also has Barrier and Unique. So Uniques. It sucks that it has Unique on it, but it's understandable because this is what gains you advantage every turn. It's what you want to get down as quick as possible after getting Babidi established. And having Barrier means harder to remove, which means you don't have to worry too much. And even if they do spend a lot of time trying to get rid of it, you can just play another one. But it also is, when this card attacks, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 card with Agent Destruction in its card name, and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this is how you draw, since your leader can't draw. And most of your deck is Agent Destruction, so it's very unlikely you'll whiff. It's an odd case, but it's very, very rare. And then the next one we have is another strong one, being Broly, the Invincible Agent Destruction. Now this is one that allows you to grab things that's when you drop, because of his activate main, we're paying 1 energy and discard this card from your hand. You can choose 1 card in your drop with Agent Destruction in its card name, add it back to your hand. So that's fantastic. So if you lost a Unison, grab it back. If you lost one, if you want like a Android 13 or Garlic, like for a negate or a counterplay, grab it back. It's just really, really handy. Or if you need to get Hatch, if you lose your Babidi, you need to get Hatchak back. You can use that, get Hatchak, get Babidi, which is great. But then if you play it, it has this other skill, which is an auto, where when this card is played, choose up to 1. You can choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, which costs 5 or less, and KO it. Then you can look at the up to top 5 cards of your deck, top 3 cards of your deck, sorry, and choose 1 among them and add to your hand. Then the rest go to the drop. So that is great, and because it just says card and not doesn't specify what kind of card, it means you don't have to show your opponent unless you want to. You just pick one of them, add to your hand, the rest go to the drop. And also there's a ruling where that's been around since set 3 because of the 1-drop green trunks, where you don't have to look at all 3 cards at once. You can look at 1 at a time. So you look at the first one, it's a card you want, add it to your hand to save sending 2 cards you don't want in the drop to the drop. Then for the next one, that's one of the key parts, the key cores of the deck, is using one of the original Agent of Destruction, being Lord Slug, Agent of Destruction. Now this is the 3-drop 20k. It's quite handy for a bit of control, where when this card is played, your opponent chooses 1 card in hand and discards it, so a nice bit of hand control. But the main effect of it is activate main, where once per turn they're paying 1 green. You can choose it to 1 Lord Slug card with energy cost of 3 or less in your hand and play it, other than copies of this card. So there's 2 different targets you want to go for this. Well, 3 targets technically, but one of them you don't really want to play from your hand for one because it's better targets. And the first one, and the main tech, that is, once again, shout out to BigONotation for the idea, which is Lord Slug Super Namekian. Now, just remember, with the Lord Slug Agent Destruction, it doesn't specify a color or anything, just the cost of the Lord Slug, which is 3 or less. And Lord Slug Super Namekian is a very strong one. It's a free cost 20k. You don't have to worry about his activate main because it's not relevant for the deck. It's mainly his permanent. But it also has Unique and Barrier, so unfortunately you can only have 1 on board. That's all you need. And having Barrier means it's going to be hard to remove. And its permanent needs Bond 2, so it needs itself and another battle card on board. And if you're playing the deck correctly, then you should have the Babidi on board from turn 1, which serves as your other battle card. So with them both having Barrier, it's going to be hard to interrupt this chain. Well, they're not a chain, but this play. And its permanent skill is, when this card is in rest mode, your opponent can add cards from the deck to the hand, apart from doing it by a leader skill. So it means they want to use a super combo, they're getting no draw off that while this is rest mode and Barbary on board. If they want to draw by anything like their Imagine Boon they might have, nope, no draw. Unless the leader draws, unless they attack with the leader to draw, they're not drawing any new cards, which is fantastic. And you can establish this turn 2 very easily. And it's probably one of the cards you want to mulligan for, as well as a way to get Barbary, because it's unlike the Agent Instruction cards, it's not searchable. So it's nice to always try and keep one in your hand if you see one. And then the other target we've got is Lord Slug, Conquerors Claim. Now this is just a free cost 19k, so not as strong as the other two, but it's got some good skills. It's got a permanent where if you have 3 or more energy, it gains dual attack. So that's nice, having a when you get a turn 3, having a dual attack in 19k that you pay for 1 energy. And the first auto we're not going to worry about because the leader doesn't match the criteria that you need to use it. But is ever auto, which is once again a bond 2, which is easy enough. As I said, if you've got that Barbary set up in turn 1, you're golden. When this card attacks, if your opponent has 7 or more cards in hand, this card gains 6,000 power for the battle. So that basically means if your opponent's got 7 or more cards in hand, this becomes a dual attack in 25k. And that, as we mentioned many times before, is a sweet spot, because if they want to outcombo that, they've got to do it as cost effective as possible. They've got to use a super combo and then combo 5k to outcombo that. Or use 2 super combos, but then if you use half a super combo, they combat 1 little attack. And if they're burning cards to try and out-combo this, even if they got less, so it means they got less cards in hand, and with your things like your Lord Slug and your Android 13, they're losing more and more cards as they go. And then the last Lord Slug card we got is a super combo, which is Lord Slug Mighty Agent Instruction. It's only a super combo in the fact that it's a 0 cost 10k, and it has unique and super combo skills. That's it. It does have a nice auto that's helpful in some situations, which is what's on board. If your opponent uses a counterplay skill while it's in play, your opponent chooses 2 cards in hand and discards them. So that means if you're trying to make a play and you know your opponent's going to try and counterplay it, if you've got this out on board, they're going to have to think twice, because if they do counterplay it, they're going to lose 2 cards from hand. And with some cards in your deck discarding cards from hand, they're not going to want to do that really. And this is also, as I said, the third target you might want to get for Garlic, so you can get a searchable 10k combo to use if you want to. Now for the next one we have is the brand new one, being Baby Janemba, Malefic Agent Instruction. This is one that comes out in set 15, and it's pretty handy and I really like it. This is once again one of the reasons why I wanted to pick up this deck back up and rebuild it, because of this. So it's a free cost 20k. Red and green one, so it's one of the few cards in the deck that has 1 cost 10k combo power, so it can be in their hand, but that's why we only play 2, because most of the time you'll be playing it off the leader's effect, and that's because it's got a very powerful skill for its color combination, which is Offering. If you don't know what Offering does, it essentially puts a condition on your opponent where they can choose 1 card in live, place in the drop area. If they don't want to do that, you draw 2 cards. So when you play this, you basically say to your opponent, have a crit life, or let me draw 2. If they're letting you draw 2 cards, you get more and more advantage. But if they don't, they're losing a life that they're not getting to hand. They're losing resources, which is great. And we only run, another reason why we only run 2, as well as being a potentially dead card in hand, is because it has limit 1 on the Offering, so you can't just spam multiple them out in a turn to just keep drawing more cards or just creating more life. But you can at least, by 2, you can still recycle it easy enough in this deck. Grab back by Broly, if it dies, bring it back, play it again. Fantastic card, and that's why we play 2, so it's less dead. It does also have blockers, so if you want to use it just to defend more, it's possible. And it has a nice permanent where you can charge it without it coming in rest, because its permanent says if your opponent has 5 or more cards in rest mode, you can negate this card's energy or skill in all areas. So it means, like, it's not until late game you can do it, but just if you don't want to charge anything else, but you want to charge, and your opponent has 5 or more cards in rest, then you can potentially use this still as well. Now for the last agent instruction, we have Android 13 agent instruction. So another one of the old ones, and one of my favorite cards, and probably, if you can ask some of the people from my cube drafting as well, one of the best cards in cube drafting. So this is a free cost, once again, another free cost 20k. All the free costs are 20k. Well, for agent instruction anyway. And it's got critical. So if it connects, your opponent's either discarding, comboing at cards to avoid losing the life, which is just take the hit if it's early. Or if they don't want to, they're not being given the resources. So either losing cards from their hand or life, depending on what they want to do. And another skill it's got, the skill it's got is very strong, which is by paying 2 energy as an activate main, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it, and then your opponent chooses one card in the hand and discard it. Now, that's really good because the more energy you've got, and it's not once per turn, so the more energy you've got, the more you can play it. And since you can free play it off your leader by leader skill, if you've got Barbary out, you can, like if you start your turn off with 4 energy, you can just free play this out, use the effect twice, KO 2 things on your opponent's board, make them discard 2 cards, and swing for 20k, create your opponent's lead. So they've just lost 4 cards potentially, or even maybe 5 if the attack lands, or even more if they try to come out of it. It's a very good card, but we play it too because it's not the best, and the main thing you want to be bringing out from the lead is Lord Slug to get the Lord Slug Super Namekian established, and after that try and get the Baby Janemba out to drive it, get advantage, or crit your opponent. And then for the last battle card we got, and the overrealm of choice being S4 Barnock, Fight Against Fate. Probably the best overrealm, one of the best overrealms alongside of a Secret Identity for any deck, because there's a 25k dual attacker for free. So by paying no energy, you get 25k that can attack twice, and as we've mentioned multiple times before, 25k is a sweet spot to make your opponent at least use up their super combos and at least lose a card if they're comboing out. And then for the last card in the deck, and the only extra card in the deck, we have the Agents of Destruction Strike Back. So this is a great card because it's got a permanent where this card is treated as Agent Destruction and Warriors. So that means it's searchable from all your skills. So if they look for the Agent Destruction in the card name or in the trait, then it can be searched. You can search this. And where the fuck is the Agent Destruction card? Babidi can then still reduce the cost of it from 1 to 0, so you can free play it when you've got Babidi established. And this is also a way to help you awaken because of active main, where you can look at the top of your deck, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 2 Agent Destruction cards among them look at the top 2 cards of your deck, sorry. Add up to 2 Agent Destruction cards among them to your hand, and then you can't play copies of this card for the turn. And if you added a card to your hand, you can choose one card in your life and add it to your hand, and then you can't play any more copies of this card for the turn. So you can only play 1 a turn, but by using this and the leader's attacking auto attack skill, you can awaken by turn 2, which is amazing for this. Because what you really want to do is you want to get, for turn progression, what you want to do is charge energy, get the Babidi established by either playing it from your hand, or using the hand check to play it from your deck. And if you can attack, swing your leader to get take a life, go to the top 5 cards to get some advantage, and then also play the Agent Destruction Strike Back for free to try and get potentially 2 cards for free, and then take a life as well to get that dash on at 6. And then turn 2, do the exact same thing, but use the Agent Destruction Strike Back first, get more advantage, take a life, then swing your lead to then get down to 4, then awaken, so you can then free play out from your lead the Lord Slug Agent Destruction, then tap that 1 green you should have charged by then, to free play out the Lord Slug Super Namekian to then lock your opponent out of draws outside the leader. And then by then you should still have 1 energy open for either Angel 13 or Garlic Jr. And since you're awakening, you untap 1, you'll be playing like a 1-drop Turles or hopefully or a Garlic to get the Turles out from the deck, so you can have that set up as well. And then from then on out, turn 3 you can then play the Unison if you want to, and then what you'll do is start trying to spam out Baby Janemba, just control your opponent and aggro him down to take the game. So it's a very strong deck, very aggro, very control. You can play it however you want. It depends on your play style. Also, note, I did forget Secret Rare in here, and if I were to play a Secret Rare, I would wanted to keep it more cost effective and less dead cards in hand, because really you can't, like, Unisons could be dead in hand, but you can still charge it if you need be. And I wanted to keep it as cheap and easy to use as possible, so anybody that wants to play can easily pick this up because all the cards are quite cheap. But if I were to cut something to put Secret Rare in, it would be the Salzeno Secret Rare, because that's a very easy one to pull off with lots of green and yellow battle cards. You can play it cheaply and freely in the deck. and I'll probably take out either one Broly Ancient Destruction or one Android 13 Ancient Destruction for it. Now that's it for the deck. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like the video if you enjoyed the video and the list and the explanation behind it. Also, feel free to comment below if I've missed anything, got anything wrong, or you have any suggestions for it. I don't mind commenting and discussing it in the comments as well. And also, feel free to subscribe if you want to, because that way, by subscribing, you're helping me and the channel, but helping get to our target of 1,000 subs, which we're already a quarter way there. And it also notifies you as and when my videos drop with the notification button as well. So once again, thank you for watching. Give it a try if you want to. The link to the deck list on Deck Planet will be in the description below, so you can click on it and give it a try and untap or build it yourself. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you, and bye.